Hello everyone, this is Crystal Potthoff from Prayerful Arts, and a little while ago, a month or so ago, I demonstrated how to wash an egg, and this was the final egg that I created. And what I had done was I had done the lines in, I believe, black, and I was demonstrating how you do the lines with the black and then you wash it off, and then you do your color sequence. And Sandra said, hey, can you show us how to do that pattern? I had previously demonstrated how to do these 8-pointed stars, but I didn't really do the whole pattern in the video. The video was just how do you wash an egg. So yes, Sandra, I will be happy to show you this pattern. So let's see if I can put that one right there. And we will draw out the egg. Now, I've kind of lightly drawn it on here because I had to draw it on to remember how I did it. So I started and I used my template and I divided it into 4 sections. So at the 90, 90, 60, 90, 90. And so I drew the lines. Now, I will tell you, I'm not planning to repeat the color sequence. I may or may not do the washback, but I know I'm going to start with white lines. So I'm going to draw these lines with the watercolor pencil instead. So I'm going to mark it at the 90 and the 90, 60. And I'm going to draw those lines around the egg. All right, like that. And then we'll do these lines. And I'm using a red watercolor pencil. These do come off, so they have so far for me. And then the next thing I'm going to do is draw the equator. Now, this is a chicken egg, and those are generally at 8 centimeters from the top to the bottom. And like I said, I've already kind of measured that out. So I'm just drawing that on there. I did not freehand. I did not just look at it and say, oh, here's that. I had already divided that. And now we're going to make this band here. And that is 3 centimeters wide. So that's how wide I made it. So I marked that. So and now I'm going to draw that. Top and the bottom. Okay. And now I'm going to draw this band right here. And that is, I believe it's about 1 centimeter. And so what I actually did was, after I divided the egg into the 4 parts, I actually marked all of these lines. So it is, I marked off what was 3, and then I marked off the half. I did that all the way around the egg, and then I drew the lines. So however is most comfortable for you. If you want to do one thing at a time, or if you want to measure them all and then draw them all, it's whatever works for you. I used my, I was actually at an open studio night and someone wanted to see how the lathe worked. So I actually used the lathe to draw these lines. And we'll do the lathe in another video. I use the lathe for the horizontal lines. I don't use it so much for the vertical lines but I know people that do, and I would like to become more proficient at using it for the vertical lines so that I can really show you the whole thing, and I'm just not there yet. All right, so on this pattern, there's 4 elements in this band, and it alternates. Here's a circle, diamond, circle, diamond. So what I did was I started with the easy one. I drew the diamond first. So the diamond is going to be like this. So that's about, I figure out where it's half, and I draw the diamond. So I've drawn the diamond. And now we'll turn it over and draw the other diamond. Okay. And now we're going to draw the circle. So there's a couple ways you can do the circle. You can just kind of draw 4 sets of arches. You can use a template. Now this one's too big, but if you have one that kind of fits up there, you're probably not going to find anything that fits exactly, but you might find something that's close. You could do that. You could use a suction cup, which I thought I had handy and I don't. Okay, you could use one of these suction cups. This one's pretty close, so I could use that to kind of draw it on, and then fill it in. You know, what I would do is I would lightly draw it with this, with like the pencil, and you can see it doesn't quite fill up the whole area. So I'd kind of use that to say, okay, I'm going to go here. So it's circle-ish. It's not going to be an exactly perfectly round circle, and that is okay. And you know, maybe on your egg it will be. So there's one circle, or you can, like I said, you could just kind of draw an arch from each point, like a quarter of an arch. So there's the arch. All righty. Now what I did on the top and bottom, I have like a flower, and if you pretend, well, I'll do it at the top. So here's I drew a circle, and then I drew 4 petals, and they just kind of look like that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I fill in with 4 more. So they just kind of go like that. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't a little bit out of the video there. All right, let me draw that right like that. And we'll do the same thing on the bottom. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch, and I'm going to use the blue one. And I'm going to draw the 8-pointed star. So I'm going to draw it in the diamond, and there's that. And then here's this line. And then I'm going to draw a line that makes like an X. Going to make an X in the center of it. And then I add the star points, just like that. All right. Now for the circle, really, we're kind of doing the same thing. There was kind of my center of that. We'll draw this line, and again we'll make the X in the middle and draw some of the star points. And you know, I'm doing this. You can put whatever you want in here, and you could put a star here. You could put a flower here. You know, you don't have to put the same thing in each one. It's just what I did, but you know, be creative there. All right, and then I'll put that there. Now this element here, what I did there was I kind of drew something inside of this little area here. So what I did, it just went like this, and then it kind of has a curve to it, and then it goes like that. Same thing down here. This, here, and this. And then what I did on mine, so the part that's by the circle kind of has the curve. So I did some lines like that. And then I put this little chicken feet thing in here. So you could, again, you can do whatever you want. But then when you do that, so if I do that over here, it kind of frames the circle and the diamond. It kind of gives it to me, it looks like a frame, especially if you do like a couple lines like this. And then it to me, it looks like, yeah, I just like that look. Okay. So this is, I'm going to draw this on, and I'll draw these, and then I'm ready to start waxing this. So I'm going to start, I'll finish drawing this, and I'll come back and I'll start waxing it. In here, there is an extra line here and here. I'm not going to draw that with this. You can if you want, but I'll wax this line, and then I'll just come back and do the other one, and then I'll do that. Or maybe I'll do something different. We'll see. I got time to think about that. Okay. I'll finish drawing it, and then we'll start waxing. All righty, I'm back, and I am ready to start waxing my egg. Okay, hopefully I can keep that one in the video. So what I am going to do is I'm going to do this line here first. Okay. And I'm going to hope that you can see the wax. Oh, good. Yeah. That's, you can see it. Okay. I have to move this way, out of the way, because, oh, maybe I can put it over here. Okay. There we go. That works. Okay. So these are going to have white lines where this one here had black lines. And I'm putting the wax over the top of the watercolor pencil. And so far, the times I've used the watercolor pencil, it has come off in the end. I mean, it definitely will come off when I dye the egg. But it has also come off like where, the egg will be white. So if you do want to use the watercolor pencil, you want to be aware that you don't want to draw a bunch of the design on here, because once you put it in the first dye color, a significant portion of those lines will be gone because it's watercolor. It's going to kind of dissolve in your dye. Now, I have not had it impact the color of the dye. Not that I have noticed. So, and I've only used the red and the blue. I am going to put this in the yellow as my first dye color, and my yellow stays pretty yellow. So that's been my experience. These are just cheap. Well, I mean, this one's the Statler brand, and I believe this one it's Reeves. I think that I don't know if that was the Michaels brand or not. Anyway, like I said, they're not super expensive. I think the Statler brand was a little more than the other one. But they are watercolor pencils. They're not colored pencils. So a colored pencil has wax in it, so it is not going, well, I won't say it won't come off your egg. It will come off when you heat it, but for purposes of how I'm using it to draw the lines, you know, that may stay on your egg. So don't use colored pencil. You use watercolor pencil, and there's a difference. So make sure if you want to do this, or you just use your regular pencil, and you can get pencils that I have a blue lead in one of my pencils that I use too. You don't want to use the watercolor pencils for if you're going to do like the dark black lines, because when you put it in the black dye, you won't be able to see anything that you've drawn. You can use the watercolor pencil to draw the lines on there, but you would still have to go over them with the pencil for a heavier line, so that you can see after you dye the egg black. All right, so I've done, this is the second diamond now that I've done, and we'll do the circle. I went a little off my line. The circle didn't touch the diamond, and that's okay. All right. So I've done this line. I've done the two circles, the two diamonds, and I've done that line. So what we're going to do now is we'll wax one of the stars here. I did draw pretty heavy, so kind of like a little bit hard to see the wax sometimes, but it's flowing pretty good, so I'm sure it's on there. I shouldn't have said that. Now look what's happening. Yeah, I guess it is coming out. Let's give it a little encouragement. Here's my dental pick. And I don't believe I said this, but I'm using my Lubas Electric with the medium tip. Put a little more wax in it too. Okay. Alrighty. Oh. That'll be okay. That's just a design element. A little bit thicker there than I had planned. So one of those unplanned design changes. All right, now we'll do the star points. And I don't think I'm going to do, yeah, I'm just going to outline the stars. I'm not going to do anything with white inside of them. I'm going to wait and save that for my yellow color. Okay. Oh, got one more to do. Almost missed one. All right, so, I mean, I'll be doing these other stars the same way. And then here, I just, like I said, I'm just going to kind of follow the outline of that space. And for now, I think I'm just going to put 2 lines in there, just like that. I'll do them all around here. We'll do them all around this, and then we'll work on some of these other elements, and I'll fill in the rest of the 8-pointed stars off camera because it's the same thing. Really not any different drawing it in a circle versus a diamond. I do want to make sure that, I'm doing the same number of lines inside this element. So I decided on 2. So I will do 2 for all of them. And I don't know how well it shows up, but this part right here, there is a little bit of a curve to it so that it highlights the curvature of the circle there. And then these parts are straight because the lines they're next to are straight. Okay. So now I'm going to work on this part here, the band. So I've already drawn the one line. So now, like I said, I didn't draw it with the pencil. I'm just going to draw with the wax a line that's just kind of close to that. I'm just kind of eyeballing it, and you can get pretty, what I find is like something like this, I do better just eyeballing it. If you want to draw, if you feel more comfortable drawing it with the pencil first, then that's what you should do. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be Chris's way. So we have the 2 lines there. Now I'm going to draw this line here that I have drawn with the pencil. And here's where you can look at your egg and you can think, okay, what am I going to put in this band? And if you say, well, I want to put some swirls, or I want to do something, and you think that if you put your second line inside of it, you might say, well, I'm not going to have enough room to put my element in there that I would like. Then what you do is you put your second line over here, and then that gives you a little more space. So it depends on what you want to put in here will determine whether you put this second line inside or outside. And I think I am going to do the same thing with just putting these little lines in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put mine on the inside, and that will give me more room to draw a bigger flower, which is what I'm intending to do at the moment. So I want to draw my line on the inside. I got it. There's a big old blob just waiting to land on my egg. But I wiped it off just in time. Okay, so we're going to draw this right like this. Okay. And then now what I'll do is I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to draw lines up like that. All the way around. I think you get the idea. All right, I'll do those all the way around. Now for the last thing here, we'll do our flower that we have on the top. And then I will, of course, be doing the same thing on the bottom. I'm drawing a circle. And then I'm going to do this. So I draw 4. This is how I do it. I mean, you can do it however you want. You can do it so that they're all overlapping. I'll do that on the bottom so you can see it. How you can draw them so that they all overlap. This way only, 4 of the petals are kind of behind and 2 petals are in front. Or, you don't have to do a flower on the top. I could have done another 8-pointed star, but I wanted something different. Okay, so here we're on the bottom. So let's do one that they all overlap. So if I wanted to do that, I would start and I would just draw that, half of it. And then I would draw this one. And I would draw it like this. And then I would come back and finish that. So now I will draw this one like this, and I come back and finish that. You have to remember, I'm doing this differently than the lines that I drew on there. And either way is fine. Whatever you want to do. And you don't even have to do this. You could do a different kind of flower. And this. And this. And you'll be able to see it a little better when I take the wax off. So all the petals overlap one another. I think that's called a whorl, but I'm not 100% sure. All right, so I'm going to finish waxing all of this and dye it in my first color, and then we'll be back to work on those elements. All right, here is the egg with all of the wax on it. You can kind of still see the watercolor pencil. I'm going to put it in the yellow dye. This is Ukrainian Gift Shop yellow. My yellow has been around the block a few times, so it's not. It's a good yellow. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna leave that in there for 3 minutes, and then we're gonna come back and check it and see how it did. Okay, so it's been about 3 minutes, and we have a pretty nice looking yellow egg. You can still see some of the watercolor pencil, but as we go through and add more colors, it will become less visible, and with the goal at the end that it will be completely invisible. All right. All right, so I'm going to let this dry for a few minutes, and then we'll start waxing it. All right, our egg is dry, and we are ready to start putting some wax on it. That did give me some time to think about what I wanted to do. I think I will do a slightly different color combination than this one. I mean, I would be doing it anyway because this one had black lines and this one has white lines. So I'm going to do some things a little different. But I'm not going to tell you what it is because I may change my mind halfway through and do something different again. But some things I am going to do the same. So I'm going to do some yellow lines here in these, every other one. And when I do this, I like to start in the center and then, because I always want to have this center one, and then I can go above it. I am using my Lubas Electric with the fine tip. I use the medium to draw all the lines on there, all the initial lines. And that's what I did on this one. After I did the black lines and I washed it, this is where I put the yellow. Now in the circle area, I put I put this kind of thing. So just a line out and a circle. And again, doing it in every other one. And then I put lines out here, and here I'm going to start at the bottom because I want to do the same number on both sides of the point. So I do that, and I just skip the point. So these lines look like they are behind the... Oh, Chris, did not pay attention again. Okay. Performing surgery. Okay. Let's give this another try. Here's where I want to put the line. There we go. Yeah, two partial one there. Okay. Skipping this one, doing this one. There we go. Now we got it. Okay. And I'll do the same thing on the other two. Now, what else did I have? I do not want to put fill in one of these bands with yellow because then I would have solid yellow against the white, and that's not going to show up very well. So I am going to switch to, this is my Lubas Electric with the extra fine tip. And I am going to put this little thing in here. On this one, I did it while the egg was orange, but here I'm going to do it on the yellow. So I'm going to do that same element, but I'm using my extra fine because it's a smaller space. I like these little chicken feet. Like the little chicken feet on the chicken egg. Oh my goodness, I was out of the camera there. I'm so sorry. Okay, and then I'll do that on the other ones. And then the other thing I had yellow was here. Now here I put yellow in the center. I'm not going to do that again for the same reason, because I don't want the yellow next to the white. I won't get the contrast, so it won't show up. So I'm going to switch back to my fine, and I am going to put these lines in here. Now this was the one where we did it, and they all kind of, each one overlapped. So we're just going to kind of put a couple little lines in each one. These sort of represent the veins of the flower. And then we'll just do the now here, because they don't overlap. So on this one, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 like that. Oops. I'm putting in a few more just because there's a little more space, and you don't have to have everything look the same. And if you don't want to do these, you don't have to do them. I think it just adds a little something, but all right. So we did that. All right, I need to do these two. So this needs it here. This needs the stripes here, so I need to do the stripes there. And then that will go there. Okay. All right. So I'll wax the rest of that. And then I will dye it in the next color. I do have to think about the colors I do want to use in the sequence. So I'm not exactly sure at this point what color it's going into. But I will find. Let's see if I can do this without making a mistake. Okay, let's just see. Everybody give me a little encouragement. Give me a little love here. Okay, I did one. Two. Three. Oh. All right. I managed to do that one correctly. All right. I finished putting my lines on. I got to put the little things in here, like I did here, and then I will be ready to dye it in the next color. All right, I'm back, and the egg is this beautiful orange color. So the other colors I'm going to put on this egg are going to be the Borealis green and either light blue or turquoise. I haven't decided which. And then my final color will be purple. So I thought maybe what I'll do is wherever I have the yellow, that's where I'll put the blue color. So it would correspond to what is red on there. And then, so if I did the orange, oh, I did that different. How about that? Okay. I'm trying to decide if I want the orange next to the blue or if I want it just on the same egg together. So that's what I'm at right now. Okay, so look at that. I had an unplanned design change. So if I make this blue and this blue, okay, I guess I did do it the same. Oh, I'm struggling here. So maybe I will make these orange and then that will be green. Okay, so this I'm going to do orange. I'll do that first. So at this point, I do kind of have to try and think about how I want my colors to be. I guess the orange is going to be next to the blue. I guess that'll be okay. The white, because the white will be separating it. So it will be okay. All right. Sometimes I like orange and blue together. They're nice complementary colors. But sometimes they can look kind of brown, but the white will be separating them. So I will be okay. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is put this here. Okay, so these areas are, I'm using my Luba's Electric with the medium. And then after I get all the wax on the orange areas, I will be washing the egg before I put it in the Borealis green. Come on, there we go. Because it'll be a color that I won't want if I just put it over the top of this. So this will be all the orange on this one. That'll be it. And then after I get this done, then we'll talk about where I will put the orange on the other one, the diamond shape. And if you notice, almost all of the extra lines that did not have wax on them are now pretty much gone. Where I had the lines and I covered them with wax, you can still see that. But in the past, when I've used the watercolor pencil, they have disappeared when I have taken the wax off. Okay, so now I'm on this one, which was this, but I didn't put the swoopy thing in it. So, so this will be blue. And if I make that one blue, so do I want to make that one orange? Yeah, what the heck? You're not going to know unless you try, right? So we're going to make these orange. And then this will be blue. Inside that diamond will be blue, and outside of it will be the green. And if I forget, I can replay my video that I'm doing. I don't know why, a while back, I thought, now what was I going to do there? I don't remember. And then I thought, well, wait a minute, Chris, you videotaped it. You can go back and look at it. And remember, okay, so this will go here. And so I am going to put it in the Borealis green. If, after I wash it, if it's not dark enough, I may dunk it in the light green from Ukrainian gift shop, because I want it to be, I want to make sure I have a deep enough shade. Okay, so that's those two. Now in here, I know where the little, my fingernails all dirty. I was chopping pecans. So in here, I want that to be blue. And so I think I'm going to do the orange here, and then that will be green, and that will be blue. Okay, so let's do that on all of them. There's still a few of the pencil lines right there. But all right, now I'll need to do this on the other ones. So what I'm going to do, I don't think I want, do I want any orange in here? Inside of the flower is going to be blue. I don't think I do. I think I'm going to put blue in this little tiny space, and blue in that space, and then blue there. Okay, I think that's all the orange that I want on there. So I will wax these four things and those two, and then I will wash it, and I'm going to videotape the washing part too. And then I will, then the next color will be the Borealis green. But so wax, wash, green. Hang on, we're almost there. All right, I'm in the bathroom. Camera is precariously sitting on the corner of the sink. I'm getting the water to be lukewarm, not too hot, not too cold. And I'm gonna, oh, that was way more than I wanted. I'm using Dawn dish soap. This works well for me. Some people use Ivory soap. I'm holding it in my hands that I forgot to put gloves on. That got a little too warm. And there, it's not orange anymore. Okay. All right. It has a little bit of an orange tinge to it, but that will not impact the other dye. So if I wanted it to be, if I needed it to be really white, I would let it dry for a few minutes and wash it again. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to let it dry for a few minutes before I put it in the green dye. Because if I were to put it right in the green dye, the egg is kind of almost too wet to go in there and the dye won't soak into it. So I need the egg dry on the outside and hopefully the inside because I have plugged it. So hopefully I didn't get any water inside of it. All right, next color will be Borealis green. All right, so we're back, and this is the shade of green I decided on. I had put it in the Borealis green, and it was very pretty, but it just looked a little too bright and neon for me. So I put it in the light green. So the Borealis green is Ukrainian accessories color. And the light green I used was Ukrainian gift shop. And I put it in there. I counted to 5 and I took it out. And I really like this shade. So now we're ready to cover all the parts that we want to stay green. And that will be, I'm going to use my Lubas Electric with the medium tip. And felt kind of crunchy there. Okay. So on here, it is going to be this area here because the areas that had the yellow, I'm going to use the blue. And I haven't decided yet if I'm using turquoise or light blue. Right now I'm leaning toward turquoise. What I may do is I'll put it in the turquoise and see if I like it. And if I do, that's the color I'll use. And if I don't, I'll put it in the light blue. All right, so we're going to fill in this area. And I should have talked about the thing I used that I don't know if it was on the camera or not. I use cleaning wires. And I have gotten cleaning wires from Ukrainian Gift Shop and Ukrainian Accessories from both places. Ukrainian Gift Shop, they're attached to a wooden peg. And Ukrainian Accessories, it's a couple pieces of wire. So they both work for their purposes. On my little magnetic thing here, I have two of these dental brooches and the wire that came unattached from the wooden peg. So that's what I have there. And it was a little cube with a magnet glued to the top that I got at the very first time I went to Pysanky on the river. But this thing is called a dental brooch. And they come in different sizes. The white is the ultra fine or fine, I don't know. So I got those when I ordered them, and they have little barbs on them. So when you stick them in your kiska, and these I go from the top, they will pick up dust. They don't go all the way through, but if you have a dust blot, like I'll use the cleaning wire, and I'll do that, and then I'll use this and kind of swirl it around. And if there's, I don't think this one has any now, but if there is stuff, it'll attach to those little barbs and come out. Oh, there's a big old drop of wax. Glad that didn't land on my egg. So it's they're handy. I use both. I did just reorder some more, and I ordered all the different sizes because I want to see what they're like. My problem I have with the white one is if it's on my desk, I can't always see it, so I try to remember to keep it on my little thing there. All right, I digress. So I have done that. So over here, same thing. Oh no, not same thing. Let's see. Where do I want? Oh, I want it here. Okay, so this is going to be, okay, so I know that I want this diamond shape to be blue. So I have to do this one green because this is going to be blue also, whatever shade of blue I go with. So, all right. Trying to pay attention so I don't have to scrape off wax that is in an unplanned area. Okay. You know, sometimes when I'm filling in areas, I think about the Holy Spirit covering me with grace and mercy and God's protection. It's one of the things I think about. Okay, so I have to do the other two. Next thing, this is going to be green. So these things right here next to the orange, and then that will be blue. I'll do that on all of them around the egg. And then earlier I had said I was going to put blue in this little space here and there, but I got to thinking about it, and since I'm doing the flower blue, I think that's a little too much blue all there together. So, you know, thinking about colors, just trying to keep them spaced out. So I'm going to fill in this area here with wax, so that will be green at the end. And then where didn't mean to do that, where these lines are, that is going to be the final color, which I'm still saying is going to be purple. If the purple doesn't work out, then I will put it in black. But I'm really, really hoping the purple works out, because I really want the purple with the yellow and the blue. I think that's going to be pretty. So I'm going to go all the way around here. There's our starting point. And then I'll also fill in this area up here, all the way around. All right, so I'll finish waxing this, and then I will put it in well, I'm going to start with turquoise, and if that doesn't work, it'll go in light blue. And if I have to, I'll wash it back, but I won't show that on camera because you've already seen it once. Same process, just different colors. All right, I'll be back. I'm excited about this color. So this was the turquoise. It was in there for 3 minutes. I did not wash it back. I just put it in there like that. And I really like this shade. Okay, so what are we going to do? We got a lot of waxing to do. So basically, In this circle, everything that doesn't have wax on it needs to have wax on it. So we need to wax these. Wax that. Wax this area. And so when you're doing something like this, it's okay to go over the wax that's already there. You don't have to go over just the blue wax. You won't change the color. So, I'm going right over the top of where I'd waxed it yellow. That part that I waxed while the egg was yellow is going to stay yellow. It's not going to change just because I put wax over it while the egg was blue. If it was yellow when the wax went on it, it will be yellow at the end. So this is actually a little bit easier because I don't have to be really careful and keep it just in that area. I can go all over the whole thing. Okay, so we completely filled in this whole area in the circle. Mm-hmm. Oh, gotta do that. Okay, there we go. And I had thought about leaving part of the inside purple, or for the final color, but then I would have wanted to do the same thing over here, and I would have wanted it to be in the star area that was purple, because all of this around here that is blue, that's going to be purple. So I wouldn't have wanted to put it like where that orange is, because then it would have been purple next to purple, and I didn't want that. So and I wanted the same colors in here as I had in here. So, not necessarily in the same order, but I did want the same colors in there. So that was kind of my thought process with the colors. All right, so same thing here. Everything in here needs to be covered with wax. Now obviously I need to be careful in that area right there. And in this area right here. And in this area right here. And, I mean, when I'm going against the lines, I have to be careful there, but the rest of it, just need to make sure I got blue wax on all the blue areas. And if I go over the other areas, that's okay. This, when I do big areas like this, it's an easy time for me to pray and meditate, because I'm not having to worry about an exact design. I just need to make sure I get all the coverage. So it's a little more relaxing for me. I don't know if that's the same for everybody. Okay. Okay, so I will completely wax in the other circle and diamond. And then in our things right here, these little triangle-y things, that again that's also going to be completely filled in on all of them. Again, not worried about going over the top of the yellow, because it's going to stay yellow. Right? I'll do that on all of them. And then the last thing I'm going to do is fill in the petals of the flower. I am not going to fill in the center. That will be the final color. So we'll just fill in all around each petal. And usually what I do is I do each petal separately, but again, I don't have to be worried about, going over the wax that's already there. It's okay. It's very freeing. You can just go over the top of it. You won't change it. Mm-hmm. So I wax all those, and I'll wax the bottom. And then I am going to try, I think up here in the studio, I have Crown Purple. Let me see which one I have. Yes, I have Crown Purple. So I'm going to, and that is, I believe, the Ukrainian accessories deepest shade of purple, I think. Anyway, that's the one I have here in the studio. So that's the one I'm going to use. And I am not going to wash it back. I'm going to see how it does over this blue. And if it's not the purple I want, then I will wash it. But so far, the colors are going well. So we'll see what happens. I'll be back with the final color. And here we have our egg after having been dyed in the Ukrainian accessories Crown Purple. Now, it did take 2 dips, and my Crown Purple is about a year old, and it gets used a lot. So I put it in the dye for 3 minutes. It wasn't quite dark enough. I let it sit for about 5 minutes, and I did it again. And now it's a shade I really like. So I'm going to put this in the oven to take the wax off, and I'll be back and show you the final Pysanka. Oh my goodness. It turned out so cool. I love it. So thank you, Sandra, for asking me to demonstrate this pattern. So we have 2 versions of it. Both of them are beautiful, and this was a lot of fun. And I have some nice complementary colors here, and I have some, the blue is more blue, and the video's kind of changing the colors, but it's very pretty. You got a star for the light of Christ, got diamonds for wisdom, got flowers for beauty, all kinds of symbols on this, all kinds of love, and all kinds of beautiful colors. So thank you. And also, if you notice, the watercolor pencil marks that were on here are now all gone. So the watercolor pencil did come off as the wax was taken off. Just wanted to, remind you of that too. So if you want to use them, make sure it's a watercolor pencil, not a colored pencil. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.